Hello and welcome everyone to the next webinar in our State of the Union webinar series. I'm Zsófia. I'm going to be your host today. But before we are going into the introductions, there are a couple of housekeeping notes I'd like to share. First of all, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, there is an option on Zoom, a Q&A button. You can post any questions you have, and we will make sure that we will dedicate some time at the end of the webinar to answer those questions. And secondly, we are going to record this session, and we are going to make this recording available afterwards. So with that being said, I'm just to kick off the introduction, I'm Zsófia, as I mentioned. I'm working in the product marketing team. I am responsible for doing and preparing effective go-to-market strategies and preparing positioning and messaging to our products. And I'm delighted to be joined by Andrea, our CFO, and I'll give the virtual mic to Andrea to introduce herself.
Thanks, Zsófi. Good afternoon for everybody, and thanks for having me in this session. My name is Andrea Skalicki, as Zsófi says. I am the head of finance of Tresorit. During the years, we built HR with my leadership, and now I'm also responsible beside the finance function for legal and compliance functions. So we can say that throughout my whole professional career, I dealt with customer data, sensitive and confidential documents, document management flows, and signatures.
Thank you, Andrea, for the introduction. Now let's see what are the topics that we've prepared for today. So we are going to talk about 3 topics that we were introducing for the last 3 months at Tresorit. And so firstly, we are going to talk about EU qualified signatures, which is a new product part for Tresorit eSign. Then secondly, we are going to talk about data residency options and specifically the default data residency option that we've currently introduced. And thirdly, maybe you've already seen it in your Tresorit account. There is a new marketplace available. And so we are going to briefly talk about that. So let's kick it off with our first topic, which is EU qualified electronic signature. So this is a high-level overview of the Tresorit offerings, and I just wanted to show you as kind of a summary that Tresorit is not only a storage, and this is a whole platform, an end-to-end encrypted platform, which supports the whole document management and collaboration with internal and external parties. And Tresorit eSign is an integrated part of this whole end-to-end encrypted platform. And so what we introduced is the complement to the already existent electronic signature solution, and we will go into details into that later. But first, I would like to mention a case study with one of our customers, and specifically Nefro Home. And this is a good example of how the whole document management workflow was supported with Tresorit. And so basically, Nefro Home is a company, a private clinic, which was founded, and they needed it for the remote foundation for the company. They were looking for a solution. And so basically, all the co-founders were spread across Europe, and there were a bunch of sensitive documents, of course, to be signed that is needed for establishing a company, and they faced the challenge that it needs to be done remotely. So basically, our solution enabled them to swiftly sign crucial documents remotely and securely, eliminating the need for time-consuming in-person meetings. So basically, why they've chosen us is that because they knew that EU qualified electronic signature is regulated under eIDAS. This is like the highest legal effect. It has the highest legal effect. This is equivalent to handwritten signatures in court proceedings. And also it's seamlessly integrated with their legal workflows. So just to quote one of the co-founders, Tresorit delivered a seamless, anywhere accessible platform, but more importantly, the assurance that every signature carried the weight of EU-qualified signatures provided us with the confidence that our journey's legal integrity remains unchallenged in any court of law. So I believe this is a great example how Tresorit can help and how it helped to make the whole company establishment effective. And so now let's move into, again, an overview of EU qualified electronic signature. So this is the recent introduction, and this is a complement to the electronic signature solution we already had. It's important to highlight that it is provided in partnership with Evertrust as a qualified trust service provider. And the best part comes now that we are giving everyone 10 electronic signatures and 6 EU qualified signatures for free. So I will show you later how you can get that. So I really encourage everyone to try it out. Now, let's go into details, and I'd like to ask Andrea if you can tell me more about how and when you see it makes sense for companies to use EU-qualified electronic signature, what is the legal effects of e-signatures, and lastly, when do you usually use it?
So for me, if I'm asked, then for me, being a member of the management of a Tresorit group, it is very critical to ensure security, privacy, and compliance when signing documents, especially across borders within Europe. As an executive, being responsible for functions that are dealing with procurement, agreements, managing document flows, there are many areas where I see values by applying electronic signatures. Where Tresorit e-sign, I think, could be a good answer to some of your business challenges. So let me give you some examples. Most of the companies use different tools for storing their files and documents, for sharing them, and they may have a separate tool for signing them. In addition to the extra operative work, switching between the tools securely may be compromised. Using Tresorit practically means that you can use the same secure platform for managing and signing the documents. However, applying electronic signatures may have further advantages. So what are those? Less or no printing cost. It is faster than delivering the documents by post, so you can also reduce your carbon footprint. You can eliminate the risk of losing the documents, easier to track the signature process, and with Tresorit e-sign, the final and the signed version of the documents are saved automatically in a secure place, so the risk of the modification of the agreed terms are low. Applying Tresorit qualified electronic signature, you can ensure that the signed documents have the same legal validity as handwritten ones. So this is something that we repeat again and again, because this is one of the important messages here. If we move forward and to see what are the legal aspects on the EU qualified electronic signatures, and I can tell you that the EU qualified signature has equivalent legal effect as a handwritten signature. It is mutually recognized in all member states. It serves as conclusive evidence within the EU, and it's very important if authenticity challenged, the legal burden is on the disputing party. And we can move forward to the practical examples. So when you would like to decide which type of electronic signatures you would like to use, so whether a simple electronic signature or qualified electronic signature, there are always certain special criteria which need to be taken into account, like value of the contracts, the applicable jurisdiction. It is always for the companies to assess if a certain type of digital signature is sufficient for its purposes. But in general, we can say that we recommend using electronic signatures for low-risk agreements where there is no formal requirement. These can be terms of service of a software as a service provider, a purchase order. It can be an NDA or internal low-risk corporate governance document. In Tresorit, within the company, we use electronic signatures for the expense reimbursement process and in our internal approval, signatory, and archiving process. And what is for the qualified electronic signature? We say that we recommend using qualified electronic signatures for complex or high-risk agreements, or agreements that must be in writing, such as an employee agreement, IP-IT agreements. Or you can use qualified electronic signatures for agreements having arbitration clause, penalty clauses in some jurisdictions, corporate documents. In Tresorit, we mostly use qualified electronic signatures for HR-related documents, employee agreements, and in many cases for corporate documents. These kind of corporate documents can be board decisions. We use qualified electronic signatures when we sign the board meeting minutes for the acceptance of the annual financials. And also we use qualified electronic signatures for international commercial agreements with having a higher contract value. So these are the examples that we use as qualified signatures.
Thank you very much, Andrea. It was very insightful to hear all the practical parts and also the legal effect. Thank you for that. And so this is a summary on the values, basically what Tresorit EU qualified electronic signature can provide to you. First and foremost, risk mitigation. So as Andrea mentioned, this is this brings the highest level of security. It is equivalent to handwritten signatures, and it enhances trust and accountability in electronic transactions. Secondly, it provides undeniable evidence in both authenticity and integrity. And this is uses a secure digital certificate issued by qualified trust service provider. In our case, it is Evertrust. It has a cross-border recognition, so it is recognized and accepted across all EU member states. It enables seamless cross-border transactions. And also, it eliminates the need for multiple signature tools when operating in different EU countries. And lastly, the compliance part is that it complies with the requirements of eIDAS regulation. So with that, now I'd like to move to a product demo. So now I will show you from the very beginning of how to get the 10+6 signatures and going through a whole e-signature process. So let's start with it. Now we are viewing a user side. This is when you go to the marketplace, you click on the Tresorit e-sign, you request signatures. Now this one is automatically popping up and will send an email to your admin. And I'll just close it just for the sake of the demo. And now we will see this is the admin's view, the marketplace. You see it's a bit different. Then you click on Buy Now. And it will pop up a summary page where you will be able to see the details of EU qualified signature. You see the number of licenses, you see the prices. And if you go to the dashboard, you will see the 10+6 signatures in the dashboard view. And you also see here that in this case, you have 4 licenses for 4 users that you can allocate. And now with that, we're going into the request process. So this is an example of an NDA signature. You choose your file, you add those who need to sign, and then you decide whether it's a qualified electronic signature or a simple one. Now you add here the fields. Here for the first signer, it's the signature. You can also modify the size of the signature fields, add the name and the date. Then you move to the second signer. You also add the signature, the name, and the date. And with that, you click on Continue. You will see kind of a summary here, the number of fields that need to be filled out, the expiry date, and with that, you continue and send the link, the request link. And then this is the view that you will get for signing the document. Then you see here the NDA. with zooming in for you to see. Now we are scrolling down and you see here the signature. You add your name, your initial, and that's already signed. Now we are taking a look for the, before that, sorry, it's the qualified one. So this is the verification process. I will later show you the screens because now it's happening, the verification on your Evertrust app. But now we are moving to the second signer. So you add here as well your name. And you can also choose the style with which you would like to have your signature. You apply the changes and you go to the verification. So here comes again Evertrust. This is the compliance part. And then at the same time, you will have some screens on your mobile to do the verification. And now this is how we see the status of the document again in Tresorit. So you see the type of the document, you see the expiration date, and we can take a look on the final document, how it looks like when it's signed by both parties. So here it is. Quite easy and quick process. So this is the product demo I wanted to show you. And if you remember, I mentioned there is a part that we were not able to show on the product demo, but I will show you here in a slide. So if you already have an Evertrust account, then you don't need to do this step. Otherwise, there is a one-time registration process, and this slide shows you exactly that. So this is the part when you are creating a PIN code, you are scanning your passport or ID document, having your face scanned, and getting everything validated. But this is only a one-time process, registration process. And this is the one that basically brings the additional layer of compliance with eIDAS. And so afterwards, if you have done this registration, then whenever you need to request a signature or you sign a signature, then you will only see the other screens on the next part. So you will get this notification, and this is how it looks like parallelly to the demo what I've shown you previously. So this is how it looks like. And with that, this was the end of the first part of the topics we wanted to cover. And now I will move to the second topic, which is data residency option. So probably a lot of you are familiar with that Tresorit offers multiple data residency options, which is crucial when you or your client needs to have the data stored in specific locations to comply with certain legal or industry-specific regulations. It is especially important if you're a multinational company operating in more countries, and your users can be assigned to data centers, guaranteeing that they will only be able to keep their data where they are supposed to. And it reduces compliance issues of storing data in a wrong location. And what is important is that unlike competitors, Tresorit offers data residency option both at the company and user level. And you can set it up in the admin center by creating user groups inside of policies. And but as an admin, you can change it anytime. And so now I'm going into the practical details. I'd like to ask you, Andrea, if you can help us understand when in your practice, in your experience, when are the data residency options bringing the most value, and how do you see that?
What I see is that it can be a hot topic again when it comes to electronic signature. So what we see is that in the recent years, countries around the globe have implemented laws that require organizations to physically store data within national borders. There is a study made by McKinsey. 75% of all countries have implemented some level of data localization rules by 2022. If the documents or contract executed with electronic signature includes relevant data, then the data localization rules will also apply to your contract. There are some jurisdictions basically require companies to store almost all personal data within a specific country or region. And there are countries or regions set specific criteria for data transfers. It's just a reminder because this is not a new thing. For example, in Europe, the GDPR limits the third country personal data transfers without appropriate protection levels. And we know that there are many jurisdictions opt for sectoral rules on data transfers, including company records, financials, and health or government-related data. But all in all, the violation of these rules may result in significant fines, and companies may be required to stay in compliance with the laws of different regions in the same time. So as a result, I think companies must think locally where necessary, be able to adjust to the new laws and store their data in different locations. So our recommendation is that we think that it makes sense to consider repeatable data localization approach so that company can move efficiently from one geography to the next. And as a good consequences, as a result, it may lower the cost in the same time. So this is what we see as a good benefit of the RDRO.
Thank you very much. It's very clear how it brings value, and thank you for the explanation here. So yes, the Tresorit offers 12 data centers where you can store your data, which is 11 countries, and then in the United States there are 2 data locations. But this is something that has already been available. The new part of that, it's that we made it more effective, the whole process when you are setting up your Tresorit account, so that all newly registered customers will have their data location set to their billing country. But you can change it anytime in the admin center, and then every new folder will be stored on that location. If you already use Tresorit, you can change that residency anytime, and then newly created folders will match that new preference. And so this were the theory, and we were thinking that we will show you, based on a use case, how it can actually bring value, and how you can make sure and set up these data locations. So let's imagine a use case where the customer is a financial advisory company, a multinational company, it's important, and it's headquartered in Switzerland and has subsidiaries in many other countries, and they're working on client projects. Now, these projects are all over the world, and obviously they are sensitive client information. And sometimes there is either country or industry specific requirements that the data needs to be stored in that specific country. Now, let's imagine we have 3 main characters. We have Bobby, the admin of that multinational financial advisory company. We have Aurel, who is a director located in Switzerland. And we have Aaron, project manager, whose boss is Aurel. And Aaron is working in the United States on a project with customers in the United States. Now, the case where we will show you in details in the video is that this new customer registers, and that it is set there because their billing address is Switzerland. This is why the default data location will be Switzerland. And so then the admin sets up the policy templates for each country team. It will be named like that, you will see, and then assigns users to this template, selects the location where they store their data, and then we will see a screen of Aurel, the director, who is located in Switzerland, but can look at different and other project members when she is set as the manager or editor for a certain folder. So let's take a look at the product demo video. So now you will start with Bobby, the admin. You will see his screen. You see the different data locations. And then this is how the dashboard looks like. And if you go to the billing, you see that the billing address is Switzerland, which determines, in this case, the default data location to be in Switzerland. You see there the different policy templates that are set up for each member. Let's go to the management one, which is where Aurel is. We see that she is set up in Switzerland, but this can be changed anytime here. And at the admin center. Then we see the US project. This is where Aaron is, and this is set in the United States. Now, this is a view of Aurel, the part of the management, and you see that some of her folders are in Switzerland because this is where she's based, but she can also upload files and work with her project members and take a look. And if there is, for example, an NDA to be signed or a project completion document, then she can still upload it to a different location, to another folder. So this is it. I think it pretty much captures the value it brings and how easily it can be set up. So with that, we've already covered EU qualified electronic signature, and we've seen the default data residency option and how it can be set up. The third topic that we've prepared is the marketplace. So probably many of you have seen that we have added an online marketplace into your Tresorit account for easy navigation. This view is for the users. It basically gives you visibility on which add-ons are enabled for you, integrations that are installed, and you can learn more about eSign. You can request your admin to add eSign license for you. And if you are an admin, this is in the next screen. Then you have a bit more access to more features because you can install or remove plugins and integrations. You can purchase licenses, signatures, and even email encryption. And you see here as well, I highlighted again the fact that you can get the 10 plus 6 signatures for free. You can do that from here, from the marketplace. I really encourage you to try it out. Now, with that, this was the main part of the webinar. These were the recently launched features, but we are already cooking something new for you. And we always make sure that the product roadmap builds on the requests you make. So please don't hesitate and share your feedback with us anytime. You can do that in Admin Center under the Roadmap tab as well. So I encourage you to take a look there. And as the very last part, now we are moving to the Q&A, and I'll pull up the questions and take it from the top. Thank you so much for posting so many questions. And starting from the top, here comes the first. So, is the trust service provider able to access the document that has been sent for signing? Good question. No. Tresorit sends only the hash, which is the unique digital signature of the documents to Eurotrust for signing. And when signing something with a hash, the person is basically creating a unique digital secret code for that document. And the idea of using this so-called hash is that when the document changes, the hash would also change, which in turn would make the signature invalid. So then the next question, again, a very good one. What happens if you modify the PDF after signing it? Now, in case the user modifies a signed document, so for example, making highlights on the document or removing signatures or anything else, it will mean that the document has been tampered, hence the signature will be invalid. Let's see. Now there is a question for you, Andy, if you don't mind. So is a qualified trust service provider listed in the trusted list browser acknowledged as a QTSP in all EU member states?
Well, yes, I mean, the short answer is yes, it is. And the longer one, the primary objective of the qualified status is to support the cross-border services and an acknowledgement of electronic product and trust services throughout all EU member states. So yes, the answer is yes.
Thank you. And conscious of time, we'll take a last question, but we will answer all the questions you raised. We will send it in the follow-up email. But let's take a last one regarding data centers. So the question is, can I save to multiple data centers? So each user can be assigned to only one data center, as you saw when I showed it in the policy template setting. So this means that if you're assigned to, let's say, Canada, each folder and the files you create in, it will be stored in Canada. But if you're an editor or manager in a folder, in our example, this was RL, for example, and you are in another region, the files you create in it will be also stored in that other locations folder. So very great question. Thank you. So that's what we could, that we had time for today. Thank you. And before we wrap it up, here is a quick reminder on an upcoming webinar. This is going to be Who's Next? Leveraging Compliance for Success. It's going to be on the 13th of June. You will find the registration link there. And also, there is a link that we added to the previous webinars we had that you can watch on demand anytime. And with that, as a final note, I'd like to thank you, Andrea, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Javi.
Thank you for the insights. And we will be following up with the email, as I mentioned. And for our participants, I would like to also thank you for spending the time with us. Wish you the best and talk to you next time. Thank you.